Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author podcast.
Hello, Achievers. This is episode 77 of the Next Level Authors podcast.
Hey!
A podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business. My name is Sacha Black, and here with me, unfortunately, every single week is...
Dan Sans Beard.
Yes, you look so much better without that facial vagina hair thing that you had going on.
I feel like I watched 5 years of my life go down the drain. In like a good way. That sounds really negative. But like, yeah, no, it's gone. So the plan was originally to lose 5 centimeters from my waist, and then I was going to shave. Like I didn't want to do a weight goal because I'm working out as well, and I know that weight can fluctuate with like, you know, muscle build and stuff. And so the plan originally was to lose 5 centimeters. And then I started an 8-week nutrition plan with my sister, who's almost very, very new qualified to be a professional nutritionist. And I was like, okay, so after that 8 weeks, which will take me to next Tuesday, that's when I'll measure myself. And I got to, was it yesterday, Thursday? And I literally just went, I'm so done with this beard. Like, and my tape measure was next to me. I'm like, I'm going to measure myself, because if I haven't hit this goal, I need to be prepared to cry a lot and to catch the salty tears in my ginger pubic beard. And so I measured myself and I lost 6 centimeters off my waist. So I went over what I wanted to, and then I shaved, and then I lost another stone from beard loss. But I'm oh my god,
regained half a decade in facial.
I regained half a decade in my visual appearance. Like, nothing against people with beards. Like there were some interesting parts of it, but nothing that I could really say with much enthusiasm that I enjoyed. Like beards, it's just not for me. I get basically a fire on my face, and it's a bit of an eye draw, and like in terms of the red, not in terms of like a rash. And so yeah, the beard is gone, and there you go. That's all I've got for you this week. Thanks for joining us for this week's Next Level Authors. We'll join in next week for Dan's update.
So check in. I think you've already started. How else was your week?
Okay. So the beard is gone. I smashed another 25,000 words and finished a client book. And I might have recorded a record of, I think it was like 57,000 words I wrote in 11 working days. So I'm like very, very happy with that.
Fuck, that's insane.
Yeah,
that
my
insane.
fingers are talking to me. And yeah, it's been a good week of getting the words in, continuing the early mornings, and also setting up lots of stuff for a few future projects. So all in all, it's just been a very on it week, and I felt on top of stuff, which is quite nice. Not that stuff ever ends, there's still more to do, but
always
that's where I'm at.
Do.
Oh, another really cool thing, just because I think this will be really useful for listeners. Last Friday so When Winter Comes, the collected edition comes out on the 21st of September, which is the date that this airs. And so because I've still got each individual episode of that serial that I wrote last year, I decided on Friday last week to make book 1 perma-free. In the minute, really annoyingly, it's only gone perma-free in the US store. And for some reason, there have been issues with the other stores, which I can't figure out why that's an issue. But anyway, I need to get back to him. But book 1 I've done no promotion, nothing to it. On the first day that it went free, it moved to like 25 copies. And then it's moved like 100 copies just by itself over the last week and sort of climbed up the free charts. And I'm like, if I put some steam behind that, like ads, promos and things, that will pick up, raise that rank, people read that, and then might buy the collected edition or the other episodes. And so for me, it's just a nice little sort of sign that there's still some validity behind perma-free if you use it in the right strategy.
Definitely.
How's your week been?
It has been a weird week. Dan, for listeners, is showing his weird week t-shirt. I'm sorry I keep clearing my throat. My throat is very
it's disgusting.
Unhappy with me. I have struggled a bit this week with my voice, so apologies for that. It's been a weird week because stuff and things have been happening that I didn't ever expect to happen. I don't really know what I'm allowed to say because things aren't. Yeah, I know. I think I'm going to wait another week before should I wait another week? I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. What am I allowed to say?
If you're not sure, I'd err on the side of caution.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll wait another week.
The next level teasers program.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically some very exciting things have happened in the background.
I know.
Some other things that require me to spend more time writing words have happened, and I'm really struggling to find a way to make those words happen. But I need to write a whole book before the end of the year, or the rest of the book, because I'm about 25k in. So
Which is a solid start.
Yeah, it is a solid start, but I really need to shake things up and focus on that. What else has happened this week? Yeah, I mean, I've really struggled. I've been exhausted most of this week. I do think it's the getting up really early. I mean, I sort of feel like the morning things are a bit pointless now for me, because this morning I didn't really do an awful lot. I tidied my desk. I edited about 5 handwritten pages. So, okay, I did get a little bit done, but more and more I'm finding excuses not to do the words in the morning. And mostly I feel empty. I feel like I haven't got anything inside me, which is generally a sign that I need to generate some energy pennies. This, I was looking at the stats, and for the first 2 quarters of the year, I'd read over 40 books each quarter. Or 30 plus and 40, and then this quarter, no, that doesn't add up. Anyway, this quarter I've read a lot of books, and then this quarter I read 15 or 16 now. So
are you including things like your Rebel anthology stories in that count? Because obviously that's reading. I know it's a different type of reading, but
no, because the thing's not published, I can't track it. So that's not including anything that's not that's only including published things that are trackable. Anyway, so yeah, I've read a lot less this quarter, and I think that has had a severe impact on my creative well. I am trying to find other ways around it and stuff. Anyway, so this week, I actually can't really talk about most of the things, which is really frustrating. I've had a really crazy week, everybody, and some crazy things have happened that I would love to tell you all about. But I'm not sure that I can. So I will wait another week, and hopefully I'll have some more solid things that I can mention, and then I can give you some lessons that learned about the things that have gone on in the background. Level up.
Yup. Level up this week goes to Renee Gallen, who released the 3rd book in her series and tripled her sales for the month. And I'm actually going to read the latter half of this sentence quite quietly because it diminishes the achievement, and it really annoys me that she added this, which is, that sounds better than it actually was, but I'm pleased. Triple is triple, man. It doesn't matter how big or small that is. Triple is 300%.
Exactly. So
that's huge.
That is huge. Very, very well done to Renee.
So well done, Renee. That's awesome.
So we have a
and I will add, she was very she was very, very kind enough to share how she did that with my writers group.
Oh, excellent.
So she so she delved into actually the mechanics of what she did and kind of what the numbers were, which I think was just invaluable to a lot of people, because we obviously a few episodes ago shared our first books and what they did in their first month. And I think just the more that kind of information can get out, just the better or the easier it is for people to understand where the bar should start earlier on and in different positions throughout the author career. So thank you, Renee.
Yeah. So we have a new patron. Yay! Thank you, and welcome to Dharma Keller.
Hello, Dharma.
If you would like to join us on Patreon, then you can do so by visiting patreon.com/nextlevelauthors. And as this airs, did you say it was the 21st of September?
22nd.
22nd of September. That this evening, in the future, this evening, we will be doing our next NLA live patron Q&A.
So
you are on it, Sacha. You're doing well this week.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Somehow.
Yeah. On the inside, I'm falling apart. I can assure you. Like, I cannot tell you the mental anguish I am struggling with at the moment.
I get that a lot when people sit down in conversation with me.
Honestly, it's not you. Good things make me spiral, and this is another thing that I want to go to micro. I know it's stupid, like, but it's like I have to ask this question about competition.
Here's another great thing. Oh fuck.
No, a little bit. So, like, good things happen, and my competition should be all like, yay, celebration. But like most of the time, I'm just like, fraud. How did you manage to do that? You know, and then well, exactly, and then my brain, I've got to finish this book rather rapidly, and my brain's just shut down. It's like, fuck you if you think you're gonna write. So now anyway, right. Notices. I'm a bit on it this week.
Oh, so I've got two cool things for this week, because by the time this episode airs, so patrons, I haven't worked out the time for this, patrons might not be able to access it when this goes live on your anything, but as of the airing of this episode, number one, the new Nanowrimo bootcamp page will be live. So for people who want to get involved in Nano this year and are looking for a group of writers and a system that last year, basically, and I did the math on this, basically we increased the success rate of Nanowrimo entrants by 300% in my group. Then go over to danielwilcox.com/nano, and there you can find all the information, what's included, all the sign-up page, all of that good stuff. It's £50 for the month to get involved, and with that you get sort of the community aspect, you get live sprints, you get constant daily motivation. There's just a whole load of goodies that you get over that month that should increase your chances of completing Nano. Number two, on top of that, I'm also going to be running my first ever 5-day challenge, running from the 11th to the 15th of October. I am doing a Nanowrimo prep camp, what I'm calling preppers, in which and this is free for people to enter, you can sign up and get involved, but it's essentially a 5-day program where I go into the mindset, the ups and downs, the biggest obstacles of what blocks most people completing Nano, and give you guys some kind of preparation so that you can basically know what the monster is ahead and you can slay it and reach 50,000 words. So that is over at my new website, which is over at activatedauthors.com/nano, which I think we're going to be jumping into a bit more in a little bit. So I'll leave that one there.
Lovely. I think I'm going to have to do Nano this year. I hate Nano, which is
I'm potentially attempting 3 books in Nano.
3 full books, 150,000 words.
It won't be 150,000 words, but I'm going to be like getting my words between 3 books. I'm probably going to be getting about 100k.
I kind of have to finish The Scent of Death, so like as well as editing.
Join us.
We
can do a silent November. Your face.
Like, do you know the strange thing about Silent September? Last night, when I was like winding down for bed, I was shockingly, but genuinely looking forward to waking up. And then I had to finish the book that I was reading, because I've got these 5 books for the Amazon Kindle Storyteller competition that I have to read by the 8th of October. And I was like, I don't want to start those books until I finish the book. I don't want to leave another thing unfinished. You know, because I've got so many unfinished things and it's really making me quite depressed. Small D depressed, not big D depressed. And so I was like, I need to finish this book, but I still had like 200 pages to read. So I was like, I'll just do it. So I did it. And then I slept through my alarm. And I nearly missed getting up, and if it weren't for the fact that we had an alarm in the bedroom as well, I would not have gotten up. I literally slept. And then like, and the sad thing is, I feel really torn, because it actually fills me with joy seeing friendly faces first thing in the morning and having an hour. But it also fills me with joy filling my energy well with reading.
Yes.
And that's really hard to do when you've got to get up early, because I don't finish, having put the kids to bed or doing podcasts and stuff until late.
That's the killer. Yeah.
That is the killer. And like the other thing is, if I'm not going to use it for getting words, what's the point? I might as well take the time to read in the evening. Anyway, so that's my...
It's a lesson in you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
Like you have to make sure that you're on point so you can then give and do that kind of stuff. And like, sometimes if it's not working, you have to pivot.
Yeah. So I don't know that I really have any notices, other than I'll do the same one I did. No, I don't really have one, so let's just move on. Right. What have you enjoyed?
Buy Sacha's books.
Yeah.
What have I enjoyed this week? I made an egregious purchase that I have zero regrets over once I made the purchase. You know those things where you get your eye on something and you're like, oh, I'm going to do the thing, but I shouldn't do the thing. I'll wait a few weeks. And then there's just like a niggle. There's like an impulse purchase in your stomach. There's a hot, yeah, but you're going to buy it, aren't you? I'm like, no, I'm not going to buy it. Not yet. Like I have to do a few things. So I bought myself a Kindle Oasis.
Very nice.
And I got like a sexy leather cover for it to make it feel like an actual beautiful book.
Look at that.
But yeah, it is a bit of a spendy purchase, but my rationale for this is that I am switching away from paperbacks. So in the long run, I'm going to make back that money and then some. And I've always been someone who, like, any tablet that I've bought has always had to be an 8 to 10 inch screen, typically an 8 inch screen, because books are 8 inches. And so when I'm reading a tablet, it then feels more like I'm reading a book. And my Paperwhite is 6 inches. This is a 7 inch screen, even though the actual thing is smaller than the Paperwhite, which is nuts. And yeah, it's just really comfortable in the hand. It's got like a little bevel on the back that like helps you grip the device so it's more comfortable, because again, like I've been having sort of finger pains and things, so I'm trying to find ways to reduce that and sort of make my life a little bit easier. And it's sharp, it's crisp, it's nice, it's lovely. This smells of like real leather, because it is real leather, so it feels like an old sort of like leather bound book. And yeah, I'm just very, very impressed and happy with it. So that's my thing that I've enjoyed this week.
Excellent. I love a little cheeky purchase every so often. So I have a bit of a problem, because I have 3 things I've enjoyed and we don't have the airtime for me to go into them. So I've
got a quick one after as well, just for a part 2. But go on.
Part 2, you first.
Part 2, I'm going to do a shout out to my sister as a nutritionist for the amazing work she has done, because I've now run 2 8-week programs with her. And she, as a nutritionist, her entire ethos is it's food freedom with Becca, 2 Ks, 2 As, on Instagram, on Facebook. And her whole principle is you can basically improve how you eat without reducing the enjoyment from the things you eat. So she listens to you, she finds what foods you enjoy, she looks at ways to incorporate that into your diet, because losing weight and eating healthier doesn't necessarily mean like cutting out all of the stuff you love and just going to like salads. So I would highly advise anyone. She does sort of like a 15-minute free consultancy, but yeah, you can find her at Food Freedom with Becca, and we'll put some links in the show notes.
Do you know what would get me on a program?
Go on.
So the thing that I struggle with most is that the majority, and I can tell you, I have done a lot of different weight loss things, and all of them require so much more brain power than normal eating, that as a parent, as a woman running a business, I don't have the brain capacity to add that in. So the perfect weight loss thing for me would be someone who has a plethora of recipes at hand for someone who is also lactose intolerant, doesn't eat egg, a vegetarian, and that could find, it doesn't eat avocado, like all of the things that like every single person, like, because I've had personal trainers, I've had all, and do you know what? They all fall down when it comes to me and food, because I have.
Well, this is the thing, like food is such a huge component of what we do. And her qualification, everything she goes into. So as part of the program, you get like an app in which she kind of works out like your proteins, your fats, your carbs, the things you should eat on your levels based off of your activity level, your situation, your gender, your stage of life. Like it's all customized to you. So like my mum has been on the program with her as well, and our diets have been vastly different in terms of like portion size and particular sort of nuances. But for the most part, because we live together, we do like very, very similar foods. And yeah, within sort of the app, she can recommend like recipes and sort of set you up with things to help you hit those macros based off of your limitations and what you do and don't like. So again, it's the reason, and this is why I love it so much. And I'm not recommending it just because she's my sister. It's because I love the principles behind it, which is food freedom. So it's not like, oh, you're following a nutrition plan, so now you can only have like salad, chicken, and rice, which I've been on before, and they work great for weight loss, but they're also not exactly healthy, and they're hard to do because you crave things. Like she'll have for her breakfast, bearing in mind she follows a nutrition plan, she has like oat bake things with Nutella and like Milky Bar buttons and shit, and it's like it's amazing because she still fits everything else in the day. So part of going with like an actual nutritionist in this way is that it does tackle that very, very specified, you know, like you mentioned, like lactose intolerant, doesn't eat egg, those kind of things can be worked around it because there are answers.
Yeah. I despair with weight loss because like if you're not having to weigh all your food and all that shite, it's something else. Anyway,
the first 2 weeks are pretty intense with like weighing foods and stuff, or can be, just to get you started.
I have done that before. I've done body sculpting. I've weighed all my food for months and months and months, and I tell you, like it is just not sustainable with a kid. It's just not. I just can't do it. But anyway, that is like a whole kettle of rant that I'm trying to suppress. So I'm going to move on. Thing of the week. Basically,
what have you enjoyed, Sacha?
Nothing. No, I'm joking.
You said 3 things.
I have enjoyed loads this week. I've been 4 things, to be honest with you, because of the thing that I can't talk about. That was pretty enjoyable. I won't lie.
Pretty amazing, people.
That's such a dick. So I'm looking over here because I'm going to take one of the tiny things, and then I think I might just let these spill over the next couple of weeks, and so I'll cheat a little bit, and the thing that I've enjoyed will be the things from this week, but I think I will be enjoying them over the next weeks too. So one of my characters, Scarlett, in Murdering Magicians, is an assassin, and she carries a coin, right? And she's always carried this coin, and she uses the coin to make decisions about whether or not she'll take on assassin cases, and it's just a yes no coin. But I found this yes no coin in this store, and it was so cool and so amazing that I had to get it. And so for listeners who aren't watching the video, this coin is sort of like this mauve red color on one side and gold on the other, and it's sort of
weirdly on the yes.
Yeah, the yes, I know it is weird. The yes is the red color, and it's sort of gold and very intricate writing, and it says destiny, fate, fortune, and then on the other side it says see all, know all, tell all, and it's sort of got an eye on it and stuff. Anyway, so this was really cool, and I just wanted it for like when I'm writing and I'm in her and I'm in her mindset and in her brain, and so I kind of felt like this was a really cool, this is my thing for her, to represent her, and to like, I don't know, like a thingy dog, Pavlov's dog, to like get me into the mindset of her. So
that could be fun to like decide the fate of some of her things as well.
Yes,
like, is she going to go this way? Yes, no, and then it'd be like a prompt for you to steer the. Exactly.
Now the second thing, this was a book I stayed up reading last night, and it's called Some Girls Do by Jennifer Duggan, whatever. Anyway, so Jennifer something. And this is a young adult LGBT, focusing on the L, lesbian romance, and it's contemporary. And Dan, I forgot what it was like to feel things when you're reading a book. So like, I'm not even joking. So I had this conversation with my wife last night, and I was like, I read a lot of books and I have felt nothing all year, like no feelings, no emotions, apart from The House in the Cerulean Sea, because that is just a book full of joy. And I was like, I forgot that you can actually ship characters, and that you can actually feel things for characters. And like, I just, it was because it was a lesbian romance. That's my love. I saw me in there, you know, and I forgot that like when I read straight romances, it's not that I don't, it's just different. I actually feel things. It must be, which I don't get, because I've loved men before, and, you know, God forbid, you know, we ever got divorced. I'm, you know, I
I wouldn't
easily
come
fall
back
in
to
love.
men. We're a horrible species.
You are awful. No, I'm joking. You know, but you know, I don't know. I definitely feel disconnected from straight romance, or like where the characters are straight. It's not that I feel, it's just, I just don't care. You know, I do care, but I don't. You know, I don't know how to explain this. This I've tried to talk this through with a few different friends, because I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why, when, like, because it happened with Hanny and Issue, and I was like, oh my god, and I was like, oh, I just want to know, you know, and like, that is how I used to feel when I read books. And so yeah, like, I don't know, but I felt the emotions, real emotions, and I'm sure Scott's going to come back and say something about this bloody emotions. But it's a lesson. It's telling me that I need to, one, read more lesbian specific young adult books. And so if anybody has any recommendations for young adults, specifically lesbian books, they don't need to be contemporary romances, they could be fantasy, they could be science fiction,
Horror,
but they have to be young adult and they have to be lesbian. I don't necessarily want adult stuff, and I don't want G and T. It could be bi, they could be bi, one of the characters was bi in this, but yeah, because I have been sort of just collecting young adult LGBT stuff, and so I've read a lot of gay stuff and I've read a lot of trans stuff, but again, didn't really feel the way that I felt when I read this. And it's been a very interesting thing to observe my emotional reactions to fiction. So yeah, I think, you know, I was looking at LGBT, and now actually I need to narrow even more and just focus on bi and L. And I went into Waterstones yesterday, and the girl was like, oh my god, she was like, this is like the 4th time you've been in here looking for lesbian stuff. And I was like, wow, I must be a regular in here now, this is awkward. She was like, do you know what, she was like, I'm so frustrated for you. She was like, I'm going to go away and do research for you so that next time you come in, I've got a list of books to recommend you. And I was like, that is so
amazing if you had your own shelf dedicated to you.
I mean, I spend enough money in there.
Can we get some YA romance? Sure, come on over to the Sacha shelf.
yeah, exactly. So, in conclusion, my conclusion is that everything that I write after I finish off the Keepers series is going to be lesbian for a while. So that's
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think it is that point that I think particularly people within I'm always cautious how to say stuff like this, but particularly like, because my demographic is obviously, I'm a straight white male, and there's a plethora of stuff out there that I can read, and I think it raises a good point of why representation in fiction is like necessary, because we connect most with the characters who are us. And so if there's not that selection out there, and obviously
everybody says that, and I'm like, yeah, that's really good advice, this is why we need it. But now I see why we need it, and I know this is like the 2nd or 3rd time we've talked about this, but this is a thing for important me right now. It's a massive realization for me, because I've been I don't know, anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that was kind of it, like just that importance, that sort of necessity to have different voices in every genre, because like there are people all over the world that want to relate to characters in a way that makes them feel something, like the way that you have. And I completely understand like reading books about sort of certain perspectives I don't necessarily understand. Like for me, they're really, really fun to read, but I don't necessarily connect with them because it's different. And yeah, it's so powerful when you do actually get yourself into a book that you can kind of put yourself in the seat of the character and go, okay, I understand this because it feels like me. And I think that's sort of like when the magic of reading goes sort of just to the top of what it can reach.
Yeah, I really feel like I had gotten disconnected from what reading was about and why I love reading. And it's not to say that every straight book or every gay book or whatever I don't feel anything for. Like I just said, The House in the Cerulean Sea, I was like happy sobbing by the end of it. But it is a very different feeling when I do read a lesbian book. And there are some straight books that I've read that I've, you know, really shipped the characters for or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just having lots of thoughts and reactions, and I'm giving myself permission in this next week to create. In fact, I'm going to make it my thing, my action. So I'll talk about that at the end. Okay, weekly confessional.
Nice.
Dan will finish the second edit of his blueprint and get ahead of his ghostwriting.
That's not the right one. Dan will finish the final 25k of his client book, which I did, have nano pages ready for launch. They are, and we'll research places to promote. So I now have a list of people and places I'm going to contact and reach out to just promote the stuff that I'm doing with Nano to hopefully reach a wider audience and help more people.
Yeah, okay, I was definitely reading the wrong thing.
Have you got yours? Do you want me to read yours?
No, yeah, can you read mine?
We're doing so well. Sacha will finish reading Rebel anthology stories and work on finishing the audiobook.
Oh my God, did I say I would finish reading the stories, or did I say I would read more of the stories? What was the wording, Dan?
I've written down what you said. Sacha will finish reading Rebel anthology stories and work on finishing the audiobook.
Listen, I know for a fact I would not have said finish.
Okay. So because I know that we can argue back and forth on this. After this episode is recorded, we're going to go back and listen to that soundbite together off air. Okay. And then we will decide on whether or not Sacha has hit forfeit.
No. I finished reading them. So
okay, so what's the
irrelevant because I'm convinced I did not say I would finish reading them because I don't commit to deadlines right now. So I am like, there is no way.
You had like 3 stories left to read.
No, I had like 11. I had like 11 or 12 stories left to read. Anyway,
you did it.
Finished.
Congrats, buddy.
I finished yesterday. Oh my God, how dare you? Yeah, I did finish. Yeah, I know. I did it, winner. Yeah, so I did finish.
Never known someone kick off such a fuss at finishing the thing they said they were going to do.
We are having a meeting today to do the final things. I think we're down to 16.
Ooh, yeah. Exciting.
So I went to 25 and then we had to read like 16 to 20 stories, whatever it was. And yeah, we're down to 16 that are all in consideration. What was my other one?
Work on finishing the audiobook.
So that was the one I nearly failed on because my voice.
You sound like a man.
Oh, you can't. It's not even like now I've like lubricated with milk. It's I can't do that. Well, oat milk anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I've been really struggling this week. My voice is definitely not now, but my voice has been lower, which you can hear in the audio. It's so hard to keep the audio all consistent. But yes, I did. I have only got, I think it's 3 chapters and 2 sections left to do of my edits. And then I've got the proofers edits. So there's a few proofing edits. Most of them aren't, like, they're not big. So I'm not going to commit to it, but I'm really going to be very cross to myself if I don't get it finished next week. That's all I'm going to say on that. Okay.
We'll get it.
Comments. Oh my God, are we only on comments? How long has this been going on?
About 3 hours. So just quickly to add as well, for people who are involved in the Level Up Challenge, you now have, well, it'll be a week and a half really by the time that this episode airs to finish the things you said you're going to do, lest you juggle some eggs. So I'm excited for that. Comments. The last week's episode, number 76, was What is your why? And we had a couple of comments from patrons. So thank you to Victoria Williams, who says, my why is pretty simple. If I don't, I become an absolute bitch. Just ask my husband. Seriously, I'm not being facetious. I am miserable when I'm not being creative. That's why I am in an industry that lets me expand my creative skills. I'm not in landscaping because I like having dirt under my fingernails. It's because I like creating and the beauty God's given us. The same reason why I do crafts. I like seeing things come forward from a design given by others. But my why for writing is because to me, there is something magical and mysterious about taking the thoughts from my mind and putting them on paper in a coherent way so other people can read and enjoy it and understand what I'm writing. And just a note on that, like I remember there was a forward on one of Stephen King's books where he literally talks about that process of like telekinesis and time travel, of like how you can write something and then someone like across the other side of the world 30 years later can read that and be transported back to that moment it was first written, which is just I love. RS says, I've always been creative. I thought I'd want to be an actress or singer growing up, but throughout my childhood I was always writing about imaginary characters. Bullying made me write about my hopes and dreams, and then when I got older and properly appreciated that people wrote the books that brought me so much joy, I wanted to be among them. I want to be in the author community. I write to escape, and in the hopes that I bring people joy with my books like others did for me. There's an endless magic to writing. And I'll add one more from our Facebook group from Lena, because I quite like this one, that said, I found a neat exercise the other day that helps narrow down the true why, starting with a basic statement of success. Write down why you want that. Then write the why for that statement and continue until you get to why number 7. So just get progressively more granular. And that is your true why. I did this just to see what I'd end up with. I expected to end up at something like wanting to be able to provide for my parents, but it came down to proving to myself that I could do it because I deserve to have my dream job. Love the episode, and what a fantastic question.
That is a very interesting exercise.
Yeah, I've heard that in a few places. And I think it's just because we go very, very surface level when we start to think about these things. And the more you ask yourself that question, the more you force yourself to think and understand there are like layers of motivation. So yes, over to you.
Okay, so the question is, why community?
So full disclaimer, there's a motive behind this question, and it's and so after all this time it's trying to work out the way to say it. So one of my challenges for the Level Up Challenge was to launch the thing. And this kind of links into this. So why community? Community for me, I think I went into a bit of detail on this last week, but I didn't realize how much I needed community until I found it. Like I've always been surrounded by people along the writing journey. Like when I first started getting into writing, I wrote by myself, and then I stumbled across the Hawk and Cleaver guys and got involved in them, and didn't realize at the time, because it was just, you know, a thing that I was doing, how valuable it was for me to be in a group of people who are in the same position as me, who had very, very similar goals, who were like trying to achieve the same things. And that really kind of like propelled me along my writing journey. And it's not just for writing. It's like when I used to do parkour, one of the biggest parts of just the enjoyment out of parkour for me was the group that I used to do it with. And there were like 15, 20 of us that would go out sort of like a couple of times a week. We'd jump on stuff. We'd like, you know, have socials, and you just surround yourself with people that love the thing that you do, which helps like fuel your passion and like light the fire. And I often say now, because a lot of people have said to me, like, would you ever go back to parkour? And I'm like, I'd love to go back to parkour because I love the action. I love the movements. I love just the entire practice. But I know that it will be difficult to replicate that community and to find my way back into that, because that was such a core part of why I used to do it, was like the people that used to do it with me. And so community, I think, for anyone trying to be serious about anything, or not even just serious, but just to like really propel their passion, I think is so key to longevity, to sustainability. And obviously, like I have a writing group, Wilcox Writers, in which I have a group of people who come on and join me on sprints. Not for me, like, because it goes two ways on that. For me, it's amazing because I get to like be a part of people's process and see people flourish and like the things that they achieve within that group. But I also know that I'm being watched, so I try and do better to be a good example for that community, and back and forth. And then kind of segueing this into the thing, I guess. So my Level Up Challenge is to announce the thing, and the thing that I've been working on for the past sort of like, when did I start? February, March time, really, like the season started going into, is I am officially launching a writing community, like a bigger writing community than the Wilcox Writer stuff that I did. I teased it in the beginning. It's called Activated Authors. And for me, what I really, really want to do and wanted to do, and I've sort of got people in there already, which is quite a lot of fun, but what I really wanted to do was create a community based around the stuff that brings me fire and brings me passion and keeps me going. And so Activated Authors is all about healthy productivity. It's about understanding the author journey and just being around authors who need to buoy each other up, there are loads of places where you can go to sort of study marketing, craft, business, all that kind of stuff. And there's elements of that within this. But my entire ethos on this is how can we create happy, sustainable writers, no matter whether you want to go full-time or part-time, and just to have a place where everyone can come together. And so, yeah, I've been working on that for like 7 months now. Community to me has just become such a core component of what I do, and accountability. And like I say, I really enjoy seeing the writers come into, like, we've got a Slack group. There's like a level where you can get involved in all the Zoom sprints and everything else. And so I just really wanted to create a system in which people can come in if they're sort of uncertain about, you know, certain parts of the writing community, if they're lonely. Linking back to last week, for apparently 6 years, I've been saying writing doesn't have to be lonely. The writing, I've already forgotten the wording. People say that writing is lonely work, but does it have to be? Like, that's just been a thread apparently through what I've been doing. So I'm culminating this. I'm officially launching activatedauthors.com. It's going to be my little sort of, well, my big nonfiction business. It's going to have blogs, it's going to have resources, it's going to have community, it's going to have videos and courses and the whole lot. Over the next sort of few years, it will grow, but it's there, it's official, it's launched, and there you go. So why community? Because we as humans are social creatures. Community and surrounding yourself in the right people is fundamental. And I don't just say that as someone who is running a community, but as someone who has been a part of many communities over the years. Community is fundamental to keeping you going, and especially on those hard days when you think that things suck and you don't know why you're doing it. To see other people who are in the same situation is invaluable to you. Like, it just unlocks that and makes you feel less alone, so that you understand that, like, the struggle is there for everyone. And so push, and there you go. Feel all self-conscious now.
I don't feel self-conscious. Before I answer, I just want to say I'm really, really proud of you. So well done.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
There's a lot gone into it.
Where it goes for you, and fingers crossed that it is community and freedom and excitement and passion and fire and all of those things. So yes, bravo.
And it also, in a little way, it ties back to a conversation that we had last October, November time, where I said about how I want to run authors services and help authors, but I don't want sort of finance to be a real burden. So I'm building this community in a way in which there are different stages that people could join in at, depending on like what their affordability is and, you know, how much they want to get from it. But I'm packing value into sort of every level I can to make it as worthwhile as possible for authors. So activatedauthors.com, check it out.
So I've had a very strange relationship with community, I would say, like my whole life. I have always been an outsider, and I have fought for so long to try and belong. And I tried to belong to the popular group at school, and I tried to belong at the drama with the dance and the other, you know, girls that did all that stuff. And I tried, and then I tried to belong to the sports teams, and then I tried to belong, you know, all of these different places. And I have never belonged ever in any group, in any community. And I was bullied most of school. And in the end, I gave up. And I would spend my lunch times in the library, and I was very happy doing that because no one would bother me. And, you know, like, it's a very strange thing to want to belong to community and try to find those people that your puzzle piece shapes fit next to, and not be able to find it. And so yeah, like I felt for a long time very resistant and very resentful of watching cliques and groups and communities. And I think the last straw for me was when I had this big group of LGBT friends shortly as I was finishing university, and we were all this massive group. There was about 30 of us, and I loved it. And then I got pregnant,
and it was all good and well whilst I could still go to the pub. Of course I couldn't drink, but I could still be out and be with everybody. And then I had Atlas, and within a month they all stopped talking to me, and I lost a group of 30 people, like literally overnight. It was gone. And I fell into a bit of a depressive, big D depressive state. And it wasn't post, what's the thing called? Postpartum. Is it postpartum? Yeah.
Postnatal?
Anyway, postnatal. Yeah, whatever it was. It's not that. It wasn't, I had no connection issues with Atlas. It wasn't that. I was lonely. And I'm getting emotional. If it weren't for my mum, I actually think I might have had a worse depressive episode than I did at that point. Didn't realize this was going to be that hard to talk about. So I had nobody because I was young. I was like 26. None of my friends were getting married. Well, the friends that I had left were mostly work colleagues who were at work. And I didn't fit in at work. So I had nobody. Like I had not really, I had a couple of people at work, but they had different lives to me. They weren't married to the same sex. They didn't have to go through fertility stuff. So nobody was married. Nobody was having babies. So I was completely on my own. And I turned to writing. It was around then that I turned to writing, and I had to, oh my God, this is really hard to talk about. Wow. So I turned to writing, and at that point I had given up, and I just didn't want friends, and I didn't want to find a community because I didn't believe I would ever find a community. But the more that I wrote, the more that I found people whose puzzle pieces did fit in my puzzle, and who did understand the juxtaposition between that desire of wanting to create and the resistance that a lot of us face on the business side, and the having to juggle the work and the night times or the mornings if you're a morning person. But I really feel like the crux of this journey for me was the giving up. So like I kind of just went, you know what, because I didn't want to do traditional, and that is another community, and I hadn't really found my feet in the indie community. And so I just said, oh fuck it, I'm just not gonna bother. And then I started the Rebel Author podcast. and that was kind of my, like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that was my saying, oh well, fuck it, this is me, everyone. That's it, full stop. And I didn't try and find a community. And the minute I stopped trying to find the community, and this is very different to most people, the community found me. And it is the best thing that has ever happened to me, because I finally understand why people crave other people, why people crave that feeling of belonging and that feeling of acceptance and that feeling of knowing that there is another person. Oh my God, I am really trying very hard to stay dead on the inside right now. Like knowing that there is another person who lives and breathes your pain and your love and your desire and all of those things. And oh my God, I'm actually crying. And so I just I am so deeply grateful to the community for friends and for understanding and for knowing what being a rebel and being creative and the community means everything to me is basically where I am at. It has been this ridiculous journey of being on the outside and having nobody and having no connections to being in this world where people want me to be me, and I've never had that, and that is just magic. And I don't know, but it is everything. Community is everything to me. And so that is the end of my TED talk, and I'm never ever going to live this episode down. So fuck you for making me ask this question. I literally hate you right now.
So firstly, you're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I'm sure that like means to lots of people. And like I've been through quite a similar arc where through most of my school days, I had a very strong group of friends. And then like when I was 16, my parents moved me like an hour and 45 minutes north, where I like had to start all over. And then I created a whole new group of friends at college. And at college, I was very much a person that like knew lots of people but didn't know them. Like I'd say hi. I was very friendly. I'd say hi to people in the corridors. Like I had a very sort of smallish group of friends. And then I moved again 2 hours away to a place where I like had no one again to start the whole journey. And it's fucking exhausting trying to get new friends. And then when Bailey was born, I was very, very similar, because I was 24 when Bailey was born. And none of our friends were having kids. People were still like going out on nights out. And very, very quickly that world begins to shrink, and it just becomes like you guys, because you don't fit in with the things that the other people do. And I think that kind of brings me to the crux of like this whole concept of like community and just people in general. And like there are two things that I want to drill down on a little bit. Number one, I love the fact that you said about the fact that when you stopped trying, people came, and when you like accepted who you were and just became transparent, the community found you. I love that so much. That's like so powerful, and something that I try and talk about a lot on like other podcasts that I go on is just that whole thing of like be yourself. And it seems like such a cliche thing for people to hear and to say, but it's 100% true, because the more you try to pretend to be someone else, the more luggage you carry and the more toxicity you carry in your own person. And who you're introducing yourself to in that community isn't you. So they're not going to know you. They're not going to like you. And then that comes into like why one of the most powerful things that I've had people in sort of Wilcox writers have said is like just being around other people that speak your language, other people that understand your struggle. Like we've got people in our community who just say that their family just doesn't get it. They're very close with their family, but they just don't get it. Their friends just don't get it. Like you need to, if you really sort of love this kind of thing. And last week we spoke about people's why, and people say like they love writing, like they're pissed off and they're bitches if you can't do it. Like be with other people that understand that, because that's not everyone. And so find a place, no matter what community it is, where you fit into that puzzle piece. And this is the thing that is both wonderful and also kind of terrifying about the internet these days. No matter what you love, no matter who you are, no matter what you've been through in life, no matter your age, no matter your background, no matter your sexual orientation, no matter the color of your skin, like you look for a community online for something, it will exist.
Yeah.
There is a community for adults who like to go home and be babies. And I'm not judging that or saying that in any judgmental way, but that's a fact. There is a community for very, very small niches. And so if there's something that you love, there is someone out there who loves that thing too. Find them, because that's powerful, and that will infinitely just lift that weight off your shoulders. That's why community.
Yeah. And I am dreading the onslaught of comments that I know full well is going to come at the end of this fucking episode.
You don't have to be heartless to be loved for who you are, Sacha.
I am heartless.
People know you. I
will remain this way. My eyeballs got sweaty, and that is the end.
Have you got onions under the desk? You didn't put onions there again.
How did you know it was the onions?
Yeah.
I just know the comments that are coming. I just know, and I'm like, oh, why? Okay. Can I just point out, I had no idea what I was going to say before I started speaking, because even though we knew this
I think that came across.
Yeah, I literally was like, wow, where is this coming from? Did not know I was going to say any of this stuff. Anyway, okay, so how are we leveling up our author business this week?
I am going to reach out to the places that I listed this week to look for places to promote the bootcamp stuff. I am also going to I'm not sure what I'm working on this week. Create a bunch of the resources for the nano preppers.
Awesome.
I mean other stuff, but that's the key stuff.
Yeah. So I am going to give myself permission to create a list of lesbian and bisexual young adult books. And also, isn't it funny that we talked about community and my thing of the week was basically finding my community within a genre?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that full circle. So yeah, I am going to work on the audiobook. I am going to work on 3 things. 1, I'm going to create that list. 2, I'm going to work on the audiobook, and 3, I'm going to work on finishing off the whole raft of things that I am doing for other people. I would like to try and tick off as many of those as possible because I really, really, really need to clear the decks. And I think I'm at the point where I'm just going to shut everything down. I'm just going to shut down and just narrow in, like, essentially.
Should we make one of our things to arrange a date for a strategy day?
Yeah.
Let's do it over Wagamama.
I had a Waggers last night.
Oh, you bitch.
Celebrate the Wagger. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we'll put that on both our lists. Alrighty. And so the audience question of the week, and it's all right if you need to have sweaty eyeballs, everyone.
It's raining on my face.
It's raining on my face. I am so mortified. I just know one particular person is going to come at me for this, and we both know who that person is. That person knows who they are. Anyway,
Be gentle.
Oh,
She's tender.
he has a rainy face. So yeah, I don't know what I've lost my shit. What
Question of the week.
Yeah, why community? And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writer Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
Next level
authors.
Do you have the things for the episode?
I don't even know what number it is. Is this wait? Is it 77? Is it 77?
It's 77. Yes! It's 77. I wondered if you'd get there before we hit triple digits.
I did it!